What's going on, YouTube? Chris here. Want to bring you all a quick update of Bitcoin. Right now, we're going to be looking at the potential double top. We're going to be looking at this reaction bounce, some heavier sell volume, the potential trend line break that we're dealing with, some longer wicks that may be a little bit bullish for us here on the 4-hour time frame, and that $10,500 support. There's a lot that I want to get into with you today for Bitcoin. We're going to start out on the 4-hour time frame and work our way back to the 1-day time frame. So this is going to be Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame, guys, and we're going to dig into this. So first thing I wanted to mention was yesterday we were talking about this white trend line. Okay, we've had about 7 or 8 touches on it. It was very important on the 4-hour time frame. We actually broke down through that, and we broke down through it on heavier volume. So typically what happens when you break through trend lines, you will fall, and then you'll actually back test those trend lines. What the price is going to try to do is get back inside that trend line. If it's not able to get back in that trend line, then most likely we're going to be rejected at that trend line, and we're going to get pushed down to lower levels. And the level that I would look at first would be right around roughly about 10,867 if we're continue to fall to the downside, and then be down around that $10,500 that we want to hold as support. That was previous resistance that we broke up through. It took so long to get over 10,500. We want to continue to hold that as support for us. So it was negative that we did drop below this trend line. The next thing that's given us a little bit of trouble here is this 15, this 30, and this 60 moving average on the 4-hour time frame here are all acting as overhead resistance. Now you can see this previous candle on the 4-hour actually wicked up and tested that 60 before we had some more rejection. We're starting to move to the downside a little bit here with the short day candle. Now, the thing that's bullish for me that I like to see here, if it was on a little bit more volume, these wicks that we have right in this area, we have basically doji candles, hammer candles, really long wicks. A lot of them are about 2.5%. Typically, when we get 2.5% wicks, either to the upside or downside, you're going to get a pretty decent move out of it. So for me, I'm expecting us to come back up here and really try to test this trend line. So that's going to be at around $11,565 is going to be the area that we're going to try to get back up over top of and turn that into support. Because when we get these longer wicks, guys, a lot of times that will start. That could potentially be the bottom on the 4-hour time frame. Now we're going to come back up here and try to work in those higher ranges, those higher price ranges. But it's tough because we did break down through that white trend line. So that's where you kind of want to take those defensive positions and kind of wait to see what's going to happen with the market, because we are dealing with this double top up here as well, which is showing that we've tried twice now to get over top of 12,126, and we haven't been able to do it. So that's why you get this dump, and then we have to see where we find support, which, like I said, these longer wicks here, this showing the buyers were stepping in, but it's on a little less volume, because now what we've been having is our heavier volume to the downside, then our reaction move has been on lighter volume. And then say this is on lighter volume and we just move up to this trend line, then we could have that next dump down, and that could take us to $10,500. So I want you guys to be mentally prepared for this. In the Bitcoin space, you need to be ready for these drawdowns. You need to be ready for these big retracements. Even in bull markets, guys, if you take a look over here, I was doing a lot of this yesterday where I was just really paying attention to the markets and the way that they move. I mean, even after this major explosive move here, what you can see is from the top, from about 7,476 down, we lost about 13.5% typically for our retracement. The time before, we ended up retracing roughly about 16%, 17%, right in that range. And that's what I like to do. I like to go back and get the history from this top here. You can see we went down roughly about 10%. So anywhere from 10 to 20% are these retracements. Take a look at this one here. If we zoom into this and we go down, this was a 20% retracement before continuously making higher moves. So it's important for us to realize how much we have retraced from the top. So far from the top to the bottom of the flash crash was about 13%. To the area we're at when we wicked down previously, it was about 8.37%, and where we're at now from the high is down only about 5.74%. So that's what I said, guys. We definitely could come back down to that 10,500 and see if we find support off that. That doesn't mean that this trend is over. This explosive move, this impulse wave that we had to the upside out of that symmetrical triangle doesn't mean it's not valid. It just means we may need to cool down a little bit more. And sometimes we even get those retracements, guys. If we just go from the symmetrical triangle here, what I want to do is actually throw a Fibonacci on for us. And guys, also, if you get some from these videos, you'll learn some. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Trying for 300 likes on this video. You hit it on the last one. I'm very appreciative of that. So what we'd go from is our bottom here, guys. So when we really put in that bottom right here, up, is where I would do the Fibonacci. And what you can see is that we actually, when we had the flash crash, we wicked down through the 0.382. We came all the way down to that 0.5, right around that $10,500 range. We wicked down to it. But right now what we're trying to hold is that 0.236, and that's going to be at 11,360. We drop below that, it's going to be at that 10,875, which we mentioned, then down around that 0.5, which is common, okay? If you only retrace to the 0.236, it's extremely bullish. 0.382 to 0.5, that's a normal trend retracement. Then once you start getting to that 0.618, it starts to weaken a little bit. So, you know, guys, overall, we're still in a spot right now. We may retrace to that 10,500, but I still believe the trend's up. If you take a look at this, a lot of times consolidation marks 50% of the move. We went from 3,000 up to about 10,000. We consolidated sideways. Then a lot of times you get that move again. So basically from like this 3,000 to this 10, you would almost get that 50% again to the upside, and that could take us over top of the all-time highs if this wants to continue. But this market needs time to breathe. It is what it is. The RSI right now is at 41. If we get into our trading view and take a look at this, for our technicals, we're looking at a 7 sell, a 9 neutral, 12 buy. Oscillators, you can see we're getting into that sell signal. 2 sell, 8 neutral, 1 buy. Moving averages still looking strong. 5 sell, 1 neutral, 11 buy. And what I want to do today is, when I get some more time, I want to get into the altcoins with y'all. So hopefully if I get a little more time for my other job, we'll get into the altcoins. But I wanted to get this Bitcoin update out there for you right now. Really try to watch these areas, guys. God bless each and every one of you. Take care.